Hello, welcome to this guide to explain how learning and network schools should capture and record the work that they do with their participant schools, the schools in which they're supporting throughout the course of the project and the programme this year. So the first stage, as you'll know from page 13 of the handbook, is the diagnostic phase, where through self-evaluation and looking at their development priorities, schools will either make a self-selection into the Learning Network Schools system, or through Challenge Advisors, support will be brokered. There are three different types of support effectively that can be provided. Leadership capacity, where this is deemed to be necessary, which would be then the work of the school-to-school support schools, which were called good schools in the original guidance. The second is the priority focus support, which would be focused around core subject areas. And then there's professional learning support for a range of non-core and other areas where schools may have support. That's not to say that some bespoke support for schools cannot be brokered through in the non-core subjects as well. So the first phase in terms of capturing our work is to when we attend the planning meeting, so the initial setup meeting between the Learning Network School, the Challenge Advisor and the Partnership School, would be to capture the key outcomes of the work, which would then be agreed in line with the school's development plan. These are captured on a particular Microsoft form, which is here. Please only use the form at this link. This will then take you to this page where the Learning Network Schools areas for agreed priority support. It's important that we capture at the first meeting, or retrospectively if you've had the meeting and then have come away afterwards, the key areas for support. So very simple, just type in the Learning Network Schools name here in participant schools. Please try and spell them accurately if you can, because it helps us with sorting at the other end. The identified areas for support here, so there are a range of different subject areas, or it could be other. For example, if it's leadership support, it would be classed as other. Then the date for the engagement, so when that engagement actually took place, the local authority, the key areas that you've agreed for support within that meeting, which may be two or three particular key areas that you're going to focus on for that support, and then the date that that's then been agreed. So if you submit that form, that information will then come to us at EAS, and then I'll explain towards the end of the video where that information is going to go so that you're able to access it. So the next stage of the process then is when the work is underway and you're planning your support visits, or however you're going to look at arranging that support. For every day or half day or whatever length of time it is that you're providing in terms of support, we would request that you keep an activity log of those support visits, and we're going to capture those in the second form. And again, please only use this link to this form, because this is the one we're going to be using to capture that information. So in terms of how that form looks, this is how this form looks, and there we are in terms of the priority focus support. We've again just asking you to fill in the Learning Network School, participant school, which helps us to filter at the end, the local authority, the date at which the activity has taken place, and then the length of time that visit or activity took, so we can capture that through the process. So a simple selection there, just select the correct option. Actions completed, obviously those should be against the initial areas for development set out at the first meeting, and then a very quick evaluation impact next steps on an ongoing basis. Submit that form to us, and again that will come back. We will then be in a position to produce that report for you, and again, as I've said earlier, I will explain where that goes towards the end of the video. So the next stage of the process is to complete the termly impact capture. Again, this is taken directly out of the guidance document, but what we're asking you to do there is to make a summative judgment on the progress that's been made since the start of the support period. And we're asking you to do that twice. We're asking you to do it once in December at the end of the autumn term, and once then at the end of the spring term in March, April sort of time. So if we have a look at the form that we're asking you to complete, and again, just please use the link that we've highlighted on the slide. Again, very simple, put the names of the schools in, local authority, the date at which the review meeting has taken place, a summative judgment, progress against the areas identified for support at the start of the progress, make a judgment on that there, and then provide an evaluation of that progress in no more than 250 words. We don't want it to be an administrative burden, but obviously we would like a sort of comment on why you've arrived at that judgment in terms of the work that's been completed. So once that's then been submitted, that will also come back to us. The next obvious question is, how will I, as a learning network school or a participant school in the process, how will I be able to access the information on a regular basis in terms of the ongoing progress? So when the forms come to us, our learning intelligence team will be creating reports which we'll be uploading on a weekly basis in School Secure. So in the visits area in School Secure, where you'd normally receive your sort of notes of visits for various advisors or the CAs, that's where we'll put the records of visits so you're able to access them, download them and keep them for your records. It's obviously also a secure site which is beneath the password. So we'll do that on a weekly basis, and then we'll monitor how that goes throughout the course of the year.